Welcome, Cagesiders, to the latest edition of Cageside Speaks. If you were paying attention to WWE as of late, the Raw after WrestleMania pre-show on Sunday was not very good. Thankfully, the Raw after WrestleMania, the actual Raw after WrestleMania on Monday, was good and had lots to talk about. So I've got two panelists here today. We're going to start with Blackjack. Say hello.
Hey, what's up, guys? Now you finally get to hear what I sound like instead of hearing me be a bit of a jerk in the comments.
So you can be a jerk on audio instead of just a jerk.
Exactly.
Excellent. And also, we have a very special guest today. You could say he's notorious. The notorious Eddie Mack.
A man that needs no introduction in this civilized world.
Absolutely not. You may be familiar with him as This Day in History on Cageside Seats. We love that series.
Yes.
So, we had WrestleMania, and then we had the show after, Smarkmania, Smarkageddon, whatever you want to call it. What did you guys think as an overall? Thumbs up, thumbs down? What did you think of the show?
Of Mania?
Of the actual. We're forgetting Mania even happened because their booking forgot it happened as well. So.
I'm sorry. I want to rip into WrestleMania.
Okay,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I've been holding this in for a week.
Oh boy, let's hear it.
WrestleMania 32 it was sort of a combination of two shows, and I'm pretty sure you will get it when I say it.
Okay.
The first is WrestleMania 2000. They tried to get like everybody on the show.
Yeah.
Because I think the list of who wasn't on WrestleMania 32 is maybe shorter than who was on it. I think the three of us might have been the only three. I don't know.
Yeah, and I wasn't answering my phone, so for all I know, I had the phone call to appear in that. Royal.
The second one, Starrcade 97.
Oh boy. Okay, why do you think it's Starrcade 97?
I will tell you. Look at who won. I'm not counting the pre-show. I'm just going to count the main card here. Okay. Zack Ryder, all the winners. Zack Ryder, babyface, won. Then, right down the line, Chris Jericho, heel. League of Nations, heel. Brock Lesnar, heel. Mm-hmm. Charlotte, heel. Undertaker, might as well been heel. Baron Corbin, heel. Rock, not counting that one. Roman Reigns, probably heel, probably babyface. I'm guessing they're going babyface if they're really serious about it. The reason why I say Starrcade 97 because like that show, it was touted as the biggest show in company history. Yet like only two babyfaces won on like the whole show.
Yeah, I mean that was one of the most frustrating parts about Mania was that I was waiting for like the good moment. I was like, you saw so many heels winning that I was like, maybe they really are going to let Ambrose beat Lesnar. And then he lost, and I'm like, okay, where's my good moment? Like, I'm already like 3 hours in this thing, and I feel exhausted. Like, I don't want to go through it anymore.
And that's what the show was. It was exhausting to watch. It wasn't fun.
No.
I mean, it was okay. I mean, it's not the worst WrestleMania ever, far from it. But it wasn't fun. It was like WrestleMania 27 all over again.
Right. It just the matches were for the most part fine for what they were. Two of them went on way too long. But I mean the matches were fine, but the finish.
Now wait a minute. I gotta stop you. Yeah. Why would you think that a main event match that had 18 minutes of nothing and then 10 minutes of arm work? Why do you think that went too long? Because somebody made the idea, and I know Reverend Kane and everybody loves grapple fuck, but somebody made the idea that after 7 hours of pay-per-view, let's finish the match with a grapple fuck sequence.
he's not wrong. It's just
and there's one other thing I want to say about the show.
Go ahead.
I mean, obviously this wouldn't apply to you two, but let's say you know someone that has never watched wrestling before, okay? And this show is the first wrestling show they've ever watched. They have zero knowledge of pro wrestling before this show.
Okay.
Why would they ever watch another show after this?
Maybe they think it's the standard for guys to just jump 20 feet off of a cage. That looked like fun. Too bad you have to wait 6 hours for it.
Yeah.
And 25 minutes into a 30-minute match for it, too.
Mm-hmm.
But what? If you've never watched wrestling before, why would you watch another show after this?
The spectacle of it all is my only idea. I mean, is there really anything more we need to say about WrestleMania? Because
I want to get that out of my system so bad, and I was holding it.
Alrighty, excellent.
Like
I'm glad you got it out of you, Eddie.
I am good. I am good. Let's never speak of that show.
Okay, I'm quite all right with that. I will say this.
Fine with me.
I think WWE really treated this the same way. I think they made a lot of promises that they didn't know if they could possibly keep, and they just wanted to get WrestleMania out of their system so then they can go to something else. And that's really how it felt last on the Raw afterwards. I mean, we were negative on WrestleMania. What did you guys think of the Raw afterwards in the macro sense?
It's weird because I want to say it was good, but at the same time, I'm like kind of in the middle.
Okay.
And I think part of it has to do with because the part of me that says thumbs up was that we had a great main event. We had 2 debuts that I was very, very much a fan of. They let Shane run the show, but then Shane running the show is also the reason why I'm like leaning towards a thumbs down because I'm like so many of the things that happened at Mania almost didn't matter the next day.
That was the other thing I was gonna say.
Well, like I said, guys, let's just accept that WWE has decided they're gonna forget WrestleMania happened. Once you do that, this show makes sense.
Once you realize everything that happens beforehand doesn't make sense, it all makes sense.
Nothing matters.
And think about this. Think about this. What they do this Monday will probably negate what they did last Monday. So why should I care?
That's a very good question, and I know you don't speak alone. There are a lot of people, hey, myself included. I want to see. We'll talk about some of the things that I think that Raw did really good, but I want to see if they're actually going to continue that trend for 2 weeks in a row, not just 1 week of throwing people a bone in Dallas because who want good booking. They did very good this Monday. Let's see if they continue it. Let's talk about some of the things that were. What do you think? Do you guys think anything felt different about the show compared to a normal Raw, and why?
There was one thing in particular, and you wrote an article about it, and it's something that I've been waiting for them to do. I need help distinguishing guys. I need help knowing the difference between mid-carders, lower card guys, and the fact that they gave us, I think it was 2 or 3 squash matches here, really helped. I know that they're trying to do, at least with the women, they're trying to get. And Becky.
Okay, Ray, you were breaking up there. You mind repeating yourself?
Oh, sorry, yeah. So one of the things is that with the women, it seems like they're going away from it's just Charlotte, Sasha, and Becky and making it the whole division. So I'm glad that there's at least some. They're trying to make some sort of division between in that division as well, where it's like Summer Rae is not a main event player. She is a lower card female wrestler, and she got squashed by Sasha Banks. And then you have the Apollo Crews match where Apollo Crews is somebody who you should be invested in. Right now, probably a mid-carder, but has potential to be a main event guy. So he squashes somebody like Tyler Breeze, who you're not. Because as I went back in the show, I was like, wow, I really do remember just kind of feeling like the show didn't drag as much, and the matches didn't drag as much.
But on the other hand,
Mm-hmm.
Baron Corbin. When's the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal? I'll be honest with you, I did not see that coming. I'm not sure if anyone else did either.
It was kind of out of the blue. I mean, my guess was the Wyatts in some way, but then once they weren't in it, I looked in the ring and I'm like, yeah, Baron Corbin's winning this.
Yeah, that was kind of in the position I was in. After a few minutes, it's okay. Corbin has not been eliminated. You're starting to see eliminations. Yeah, they just might give this to him.
Yeah, when you start to see when you start to like clear everybody out.
I was kind of depressed that when Corbin eliminated Shaq, he did not tell him to go back to the NHL. I'm sorry. I think that line of joke will never get old with him.
No, it won't. Nakamura needs to go back to China.
Right?
Get everybody.
All right, so
and then the next night, he goes like 10 minutes with Dolph Ziggler, and it ends in a countout.
Yeah, I know some people were like, "Oh, this is really fun. It's cool to see Corbin do that." I looked at that and I said, "Let's look at Apollo Crews." Crowd was going pretty hot for him near the end of that squash.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's look at Baron Corbin. After trying to sell for Dolph Ziggler for 10 minutes, we're getting "Let's go beach ball sucks."
You know what's funny about that is that that's actually not Corbin's fault.
No, it's not. It's not his fault at all. I think he did everything right. It's just they booked him to go 10 minutes with somebody who has no heat with the crowd.
Correct. And I think that their mindset, and I don't agree with it, but I'm trying to explain it as best as I possibly can. They know that Corbin is a heel. Beat Dolph Ziggler, so they're like, okay, what's a finish that doesn't hurt both guys? 50-50 booking. Have them count out and just be like, Corbin's an idiot and didn't think to get him back in the ring because he wanted to beat him up. So to let Corbin go over, kind of, end of days Ziggler on the floor, and maybe the crowd will boo him. But obviously, no, they don't care.
He's just the other guy now.
And Ziggler has zero heat. This isn't 2014. We're in 2016 where everybody's tired of Dolph Ziggler. Dolph Ziggler fans from 2014 are tired of Dolph Ziggler now.
Man, speaking of which, what happened to Dolph Ziggler? It was like, is it 3 years to the day, or I know it's right around there.
It was yesterday when he cashed in.
3 years to the day.
I think with Dolph Ziggler, he was the kind of guy that he was kind of a youth movement, and that you saw these younger guys. But now we see what the real younger guys are capable of.
Mm-hmm.
Your Kevin Owens, your Sami Zayn's, your Apollo Crews, or your Baron Corbin as a heel. You see what those guys are really capable of, and you found the real deal. It's no longer the imitation. These are the real deal. And Dolph is 3 years older, and his gimmick is even more stale.
And when he came back with this new gimmick, I'm like, turn him heel. Just turn him heel. Just do it. He's literally become a parody of DX at this point. Like, he has all their moves. He does the X Factor. He does a Famouser. Now he's doing Shawn Michaels. He's doing
Switch in music. I'm pretty sure in like 2 or 3 months he's going to do the pedigree.
Oh, he'll do a pedigree at a house show.
He's got Triple H length hair now, and it's turning brown, not blonde. He is literally, and he's wearing tights too. So I mean, just come on, like I'm over it. I'm so over it. It's ironic because that used to be his thing.
I was just about to mention that on the trunks. It was over it, so you're over it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I definitely agreed with the squash matches. I think another thing that was good, despite JBL and Cole's incident, normally tonight they boo who they would normally cheer, and they cheer who they would normally boo. The crowd was actually pretty consistent in their reactions, and for once, WWE went along with it. Normally they're terrified of it. Today, whether or not this holds, Roman Reigns acted like a heel out there.
No way this sticks. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it now. There's no way this sticks.
Can I make one comment about Roman Reigns before we move forward?
Okay.
because I everybody knows me as I either hate John Cena or I hate Roman Reigns.
Okay.
That's fine. I don't hate Cena and I don't hate Reigns. What it is that I hate their booking.
Mm-hmm.
And with Reigns, everybody was so impressed. They were just like, he delivered such a great line tonight. I love this new Roman Reigns character. He came out, he said, I'm not a good guy, I'm not a bad guy, I'm the guy. And I'm like,
no, you're just a guy. You are a guy. You are a guy on a roster full of guys. Okay.
Yes. But my beef with it is that this is the same like apathetic, kind of like smuggish Roman Reigns character that we. Now I'm better than you stuff, but it's almost the same exact character. And sure enough, on SmackDown, he literally said the same thing. I'm not a bad guy. I'm not a good guy. I'm the guy. And I'm like, this is almost something that they're ready to put on a T-shirt at this point.
And that's going to be a problem. It's going to be like Suplex City. It was a great one line that they beat into the ground.
Yes.
And there's another problem with that. If WWE really is going to go forward with Roman Reigns is the guy, okay? He's going to be the number one. He's going to be the face of the company. How are you going to sell that to the average Joe and Jane? I mean, perhaps I'm probably thinking this like way too much, way more than I should. Like, from a general standpoint, you can't sell a heel as your number one guy, right? I don't think.
No, I don't know if you could necessarily sell him as you could sell him as a top act. I mean, somebody's got to train.
I unfortunately live right next to a train station, and that means it's 2 o'clock. Yep, it's 2 o'clock.
Okay, I was gonna say I think you could. The NWO were a top group, but
right.
it kind of ran into the ground.
Yeah. Also, it was a different time then.
Well, the less appealing example was Triple H during the early 2000s was the top guy in the company as a heel.
Reign of Terror.
Yeah, so I think it can be done. I mean, for most of the early 80s, Ric Flair was a heel and the top guy of a company. Those kind of things can be done. It's not easy, though, especially not in the WWE culture where baby faces are the top guy. And this kind of gets me to
that's what I'm getting at.
This kind of gets me to the next part. If you read the dirt screens or Meltzer.
You still there?
Did we lose Ray?
No, I'm here. I'm here.
Oh, did we lose? I think we lost Kevin.
I think we did lose Kevin. He was talking about something with dirt sheets. I'll keep it rolling here until he gets back.
Sorry, I'm back. We're apparently having technical difficulties, but I was saying if you read like Meltzer, the dirt screens or whatever, their plan for Roman Reigns is to have him be the white meat baby face to the crowd, but when the cameras aren't away, he's going to be the guy that's going to say bitch to the fans and flip them off. They're going to try and be like the tweener kind of way to play into both reactions. Now my question is, in today's, that used to be possible when there weren't cameras on you 24/7. You think that's possible today?
No.
The minute Roman Reigns flips somebody off, that's going to be on Facebook, Twitter, everything.
Right. It's going to be national news, pretty much, isn't it?
I mean, I don't think he'll necessarily do that, but that was the examples they would show. He would be rough and tough he would be heelish towards the crowds when the cameras weren't on him. But the cameras are always on you at this point.
Right.
Here's my thing with Roman Reigns, and why this top spot isn't going to work, and why you mentioned Ric Flair as a top heel, and that working. Here's why it did. Ric Flair's entertaining. That dude, I mean, you look at him. There's a personality there. There's something that you can attach to.
You paid to see. He was like so entertaining and so compelling. You want to pay your money to see him get his ass kicked, right?
Exactly. Yes, there was something there. I don't really want to see Roman Reigns get beat up, and I don't really want to see him beat up anybody. He's not an entertaining guy. Like, you just had John Cena on Conan O'Brien. Listen, I can talk all day about Cena's booking, but I will never deny that the guy is entertaining. He goes on Conan O'Brien, he's just like, yeah, fans cheer me, and I get really awkward whenever things are silent. Like it is right now, when the crowd laughed, and then he's just like, all right, everybody sing John Cena sucks, and everybody was singing along with him. He's charismatic. Roman Reigns does not have, at least in ring, he is very charismatic when they let him go. When he's selling for 10 minutes, he's not. But when Roman Reigns is on the microphone or he has to be a character, he's me. And I think he is to a lot of people. Like when Meltzer tweeted out, somebody asked him if Ambrose was in the main event, how many more tickets? He said 0. And I'm like, yes, and to Meltzer's point, what else he was trying to get across was that it doesn't matter what main roster guy you put in there right now. That needle isn't going to change much, regardless of who's there. Roman Reigns being there didn't sell more tickets than if Dean Ambrose was in that top spot. Because at this point, they might as well be both the same guy, and they're pushing Roman Reigns, and there's just no star quality to him. You know what I mean? And that's so frustrating when this is the guy that they're pushing.
And not only that, people do not like being told, "Hey, this is the guy, cheer for him."
Yeah.
They do not like that.
Okay, so let me ask both you guys this. Whether or not you reacted positively, a lot of people have reacted positively. At least it's a positive first step. Mm-hmm. Now, what do you think they need to do before the shine comes off? What do they need to do with Roman Reigns before the initial good feelings and the shine goes off, and we're right back to where we were post-Philly?
Well, if they're trying to keep him as a babyface, they started off on the wrong foot. They put him up against AJ Styles.
Mm-hmm. We'll get to that very briefly. But
that was actually mistake number one. I mean, remember. Tired of him running his mouth and doing 12-minute promos. And by the time Roman Reigns came out and their affiliation with the Shield, they were like, yeah, Roman Reigns, yeah, sure, yeah, he can beat Seth Rollins. And then when Sheamus was champion, they were like, please, no, we don't want Sheamus. Roman Reigns, please, go beat him. And then when they didn't have him beat him, they turned on both of them. And it took Triple H jumping him to finally, and I say Triple H coming out and Roman attacking him to finally get him over. You have to get a heel. You have to put Roman Reigns in a position where the guy that he's going against is somebody that you would rather not have the championship in order for this to work. And there are very, very, very few guys that they have that can do that. I think the only other guy that would actually maintain his heat.
All right, your mic cut out there, Ray. Who's the only guy you think could maintain the heat?
The only guy that can maintain the heat if they put him in a main event picture, to me, The Miz. Would you rather have The Miz as champion or Roman Reigns as champion? And I guarantee
I root for the nuke. I root for the nuke. I root for the
nuke. All right, so we talked about Roman here.
And I'm not even kidding. I root for the nuke.
Let's talk about AJ Styles as the #1 contender. Now, what do you guys think about this heading into Payback? What do you think's going to happen? I mean, is Roman going to work heel in the match? Is he going to work babyface and sell for AJ for 12 minutes? What is he going to do?
I know how it's going to end. I think we all know how it's going to end.
How it ends.
Well, here's the question. I mean, we all know how it's going to end. We assume it's that. What are the chances we get a wild card here? That they will turn Roman Reigns heel, and there are 2 new individuals who are set to debut any time right now, and they've had a history with AJ Styles. They like to make little hand signals. If you want to bring up AJ, if you want to bring up Gallows and Anderson, and they could show up any day now. What are the chances of them showing up at Payback and getting involved in the main event one way or the other?
100%. No. It rounded off 100%. I would put it at 99.8.
Okay, so they get
I want to leave. I want to leave. I want to leave the door open just a little bit. That doesn't happen.
a little bit of room for error. Fair enough.
Yeah. I have to leave room for error.
I do agree with that, and I've thought that putting them with Reigns would actually be a smart idea. I mean, Reigns is usually at his best, and he's thrived the best when he's with a group. When he was with the Shield, and Dean could cut his promos, and Seth, was kind of the ring work, and you just let Roman just kind of hit all of his power offense and let him get over. That's when he's at his best. And if you want to bring Balor up there with him, that's fine too. It's really kind of your choice at that point, and then just let him run roughshod. You can have this be your 2016 evolution, if you will, where it's Triple H, Batista, Randy Orton, and Flair, and Gallows and Anderson, and then you have kind of like your Orton, your young guy, and Balor, and you tell the story how you want to from there. I'd be totally on board with that. And if it gets over as a heel act, you run it as a heel act. If it gets over as a face act, run it as a face act. I doubt it will get over as a face act because you're going to see Roman Reigns with Balor, and that will piss people off, I think, enough that it'll be a heel act, and you just let him run his heels.
Well, what if Balor is staying down in Florida, as Biden likes to say, preparing for his next takeover entrance for 2 months, and it really just is Gallows, Styles, and Anderson, and they form the Bullet Club, and whether or not they have the belt, they terrorize Roman Reigns, leading to the reformation of the Shield. Or Roman goes heel, and as he's beating down on AJ, fully turning heel, they come to the save. Could we get Bullet Club versus the Shield by SummerSlam?
Oh my God. I'm practically salivating at the thought of it.
That could be awesome. Here's my beef with it. They split the Shield up, and, I'm so invested in Amber.
Blackjack, your mic keeps on cutting out. Just letting you know. Sorry.
No, my bad. I have no idea. It may be because the modem's like 2 feet upstairs, or 2 stories upstairs.
Fair enough. Continue about Ambrose, you were saying.
It's the first thing that came to my mind is I'm like, that sounds awesome. What does this do for Ambrose, though? What does it do for Seth Rollins, too, when he comes back? Because Seth Rollins has made it clear he wants the championship, and if Roman Reigns still has the championship at this time, if they're terrorizing him, I don't know.
What if AJ Styles is the champ at one point?
That...
Now, you see, as much as that is a thing of laughter, if you're doing Bullet Club versus the Shield, you might want to consider doing that temporarily. Whether AJ wins it either as a babyface or hook or by crook, turn him heel.
Huh.
Totally possible.
And you have them come back. As far as what it would do to Ambrose, I hate to sound so fatalistic, but where's Dean Ambrose right now?
I mean, that's pretty much his life story at this point.
Yeah, he's pretty much one step away from main event, isn't he? And if you're one step away from main event, you're pretty. Yeah, if you're one step away from main event, no, I don't mean the main event. I mean main event show. Mm-hmm. If you're one step away from main event, you're probably.
Unfortunately,
if you're one step away from main event, you're like 3 steps away from being gone. Okay.
I think Ambrose. I'm not that fatalistic, but I think Ambrose is in the position Bray Wyatt was after WrestleMania 30. He needs to be rebuilt, and they were going to put him in a program with Jericho to rebuild him that didn't really work. Well, as luck would have it, we may be getting an Ambrose and Jericho program this time around. Do you think it doesn't? Do you think, 1, Ambrose hopefully wins this program, and 2, does he come out of it looking that much better? All right, it's not that tough a question. I gotta get the job going.
No, that's how little confidence I have in WWE's booking right now.
Yeah, that's what it comes down to. It comes down to booking.
Well, that's a very depressing. It's very depressing, but at the same time, I mean, it's not wrong. I mean, I think there's a lot of reason to be skeptical of it. Yeah. So we're not very optimistic about Dean Ambrose's medium-term prospects then.
No.
No.
That's a shame.
Not even a little bit. Not even a little bit. How
No.
can you be?
All right, let's.
What's the last big feud he's won?
When has he won a feud? That's even the bigger question.
Actually, he went over Kevin Owens clean.
Okay, he did win the Kevin Owens feud. Okay, that might honestly be it.
Harper won.
That's the list.
That was his first pay-per-view win. After a year of singles competition, he finally wins his first pay-per-view match against Luke Harper. That's nothing against Luke Harper. That's another guy who I don't know how they even haven't gotten started on him yet. But I mean, he's injured now. But whatever.
Well, there you go.
Let's talk.
Can't really start him if it's on the DL.
We're getting a lot of feedback on your mic there, Eddie. If there's we're all having technical difficulties apparently.
Fun.
All right, so let's talk about the stable that Harper is unfortunately out of due to injury right now, and that's the Wyatts. What are they doing with the Wyatts? They attacked the League of Nations on Monday. Where's this going?
Oh God, that's not the $1 million question. It's going to them being a mid-card stable. I don't know. It's so weird. Like they got squashed by The Rock and Cena at Mania, and I'm like, why am I supposed to care if they're going against the League of Nations now? Oh no, the League of Nations who just got rid of their main guy. Got rid of one of their guys, Barrett.
Who, by the way, is leaving the company soon.
Yeah.
Perhaps any day now.
Here's what needs to happen. They have to squash the League of Nations and beat them at this pay-per-view and never deal with them again if they want to at least get us to start taking them seriously.
Well, do you think that match is happening at the pay-per-view? Do you think it's happening at Payback?
Of course it's happening at Payback.
Okay, all right.
What else are they going to do?
That's what WWE does.
Well, the reason I asked that is if you actually look down the card, there's a potential for like 10 matches at Payback. And some of these are not going to get on the show.
Pre-show.
Even the pre-show, like with 7 matches, that's a really full card. So I mean, that's kind of.
Let me tell you something. After WrestleMania 32 ran over for like damn near an hour, at this point anything is possible. Maybe 4-hour pay-per-views are going to be the new normal.
Oh.
God, I hope not.
Please no.
I mean, seriously, really anything is possible right now.
All right. So do we think it's going to be a trios match or will it be a tag match? What do you think it'll be?
Trios. It has to be.
Okay. Now, is there viability for the Wyatts as a babyface? I know some people in the Daily are very high on at least the potential of Down with the Machine Wyatts. Is there potential?
I like the Down with the Machine thing, but here's the problem: the Authority's not around anymore. What machine are you down with?
Down with the Shane McMahon machine? Actually, you know what? Technically, the Authority is still in power, which made it so weird that Triple H and Stephanie were not on this show.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like they didn't exist after Mania. Triple H wasn't mad that Roman Reigns won after his speech. It just, I will give up this title when I'm ready. And Stephanie just was like, I guess I got speared so hard last night, I'm just going to take a nap or whatever. Whatever. I don't know what to make of it. It's so weird.
Now, do you think they're going to blow that plot? Are they going to address that plot line soon, or is it just going to fester and everybody wonders, hey, what happened?
No. What's that? What's not going to address it? Why? Why?
Here's what's going to happen. You remember when Jericho walked out after Ambrose and Reigns had their tag match against the Wyatts?
Mm-hmm.
And then Jericho, and then Jericho was just gone, and then Ambrose threw out Jericho, and they were like, "Oh, Ambrose getting a little revenge there from their match back at whenever," and that's it. They'll just make a note of it and then just move on from there. It's like, remember when that happened? Yeah.
Okay. All right, so we have the corollary of the Authority. What's going to happen with Shane McMahon? Are we looking at a new babyface GM, or is this just a convoluted thing that runs and who knows what's going on?
I have this pit of my feeling stomach that it was a one-shot deal.
Really?
Yeah. I hope it's not.
Well, Dr. Phil and his son are coming on the show next week, so
they're gonna need to give us therapy.
I think that's what's gonna happen.
Speaking of Dr. Phil, was Dr. Shelby not available?
That's a good point. I guess since WrestleMania made the company all that money, they could shell out the big bucks for Dr. Phil. They don't need Dr. Shelby anymore.
Just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Yes. I wish that's a motto WWE would learn.
A Dr. Shelby ran Raw certainly would be a sight.
It would be better than whatever it is.
So, Eddie, if you think this is a one-off deal, what do we get? What do you get running? Who's running the show? Is it just going to be?
What do you think? What do you think?
So are we going back to the Authority?
Yes, exactly.
Here's my question. Whose decision was it to put Dr. Phil on the show then? Did Shane just go like, Vince is gone. Let me call up Dr. Phil real quick. You want to run Raw next week? I have the power to do that right now.
Apparently.
Oh my God. I just got like this worst, just got the worst feeling right now. Why don't they go back to the guest host era?
Well,
oh my God.
They like to do this every now and then for the branding purposes of NBC Universal. So maybe we do get that for a couple weeks while they try to figure out where
then I will be skipping Raw for quite a while then.
Well, that's depressing.
So basically what I've been doing before, instead of watching bits and pieces of Raw, I'll just be not watching Raw.
Okay. Well, since we've established that we don't really know where this is going, let's talk about the debuts really quick. We mentioned Cruz and Corbin. Let's just go real quickly and talk about their potential. Let's start with Apollo Crews. If you listen to some of us over in the Daily and other places, we're very high on Cruz. If you listen to both Gino and Sean, both of them don't seem very high on Cruz. They don't think he's going to amount to much, whereas some of us think he's going to be a future main event guy you build the company around. Is it somewhere in between? Where do you guys see him?
I am very high on Cruz. I think a lot of people freaked out about like, oh, he has no character yet. Like he has to have a character. He was in NXT. I'm like, they're doing nothing with him in NXT. It's clear that they're not going to make him the NXT champion there. He has all the tools that you need to at least be.
I'm sorry, you said to at least be what?
Oh, at least he has all the tools to make it on the main roster. At least let him just be on the main roster then, and just keep squashing guys. That's fine. This isn't going to be Ryback because first of all he has too much athletic ability and he's a great wrestler and can sell. The promo problems in the character.
It also helps that he's not dumb as. Yeah.
He is not dumb as fuck. No.
Okay, that's a good thing. But you were saying about the promos.
The promos and the story that'll come in time. That's something that's on booking. I mean, if you're gonna complain about promos, AJ Styles and Roman Reigns are currently the two guys going for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, and I don't trust either of them on the microphone.
That's a remarkably good point.
So if you want to Cruz, look at who your two main eventers are right now.
Go ahead, Eddie.
I don't trust Styles or Reigns, not only on a mic, much less within 100 feet of a microphone.
Yeah.
That's how I trust it.
All right, so
But to answer your question on Apollo
Mhm.
Crews, at least somewhere in the middle, leaning towards high. Somewhere, if that makes sense.
I'm sorry. What was that? Once again, you're having problems with your mic. What did you say?
Somewhere in the middle, leaning towards main event.
Okay, all right, fair enough. So I know Blackjack mentioned the almost kind of the Goldberg and Ryback approach, except he can wrestle. He goes on a dominant run. Is that the way we want to book him? I mean, do you want to put him in a long feud right away, or do you just want to have him just be a wrecking ball?
I mean, I think that's the attraction of him right now. Just let him be a wrecking ball. Let him kill Zack Ryder and Stardust and Tyler Breeze.
Zack Ryder's dead pretty much.
Yeah, you just let him squash guys like that. Have some intrigue at least built around him, and then when the time comes to have him go up against a guy like maybe a Kevin Owens, a Sami Zayn, he can, and then you just build from there. I think for right now, keep the intrigue there, keep him undefeated, let him go on a run, and just wreck dudes.
Okay.
I mean, it worked for Ryback for like 6 months.
Now that is a good point.
6 months is a long time.
Smarks didn't really like Ryback, but the dude made very good business when they put him on that run. Now, what happens if you put the same guy in the run except he's actually talented?
Yeah.
Shut up and take my money.
All right, so let's go to Baron Corbin. Now, we've already expressed our frustrations at his rollout and debut, but what's this guy's ceiling? What do people see him as?
One quick thing, and then I'll get to Corbin. And I think people miss this, and you made a great point about it, is that Ryback made a lot of money for them when he was winning. And that's the key, is that winning, the way to get a guy over is to have him win. That's how you get guys over. You let them win, and let them look good when they win, they get over. With Corbin, I see his ceiling maybe be one of the top heels.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he will be, though. I think he'll be middle of the road to maybe kind of like once in a while in that top picture.
Okay, Eddie?
Yeah, you pretty much nailed it. He is for lack of a better term, a VMG. He's a Vince McMahon guy, which means he's going to get every chance in the world to succeed.
Well, I think he's more than a Vince McMahon guy in that, yes, he's very big, but he also is very good with character work.
Yes.
And that's what makes me think that there will always be a spot for him in the upper card.
Yep.
Because unlike everybody else, he can cut a promo, he can draw heat, and he's really good at his mannerisms, even if the wrestling isn't always there. His mannerisms are very good. So that's why I think there will always be a spot for him.
If I were booking Baron Corbin, I would have no problem putting him as my number 2 or number 1 heel. I would have no problem with it. I would book him in a way that the idea that I always had with him was that the way that you could have him beat really good guys is to protect his finisher and make it be that if he catches you in the end of days, it's over. It is over. And that finisher should get so much heat when he catches like the little indie darlings that he hates. But WWE's not going to book him that way. And when I have to look at how WWE books it, chance to be, like you said, in the upper card, but it's going to come like sporadically, I think. I don't think they're ever going to let him like fully blown be the top guy.
Okay. Eddie?
Yeah, pretty much. He has the potential to be like a guy, if you will, but let's be honest, his ceiling is B+ at best.
I mean, and the thing is, I don't really look at it as necessarily a down thing. I think there's a very bright future for Corbin as an upper card heel. He may not get to the main event scene, although he might, but I think there'll definitely be room for him.
He make a hell of a gatekeeper for like the main event. You know what I mean?
Yes, and I honestly I find him as of right now a pretty substantial upgrade over Big Show and Kane.
Yes. A mile.
I think it could take like 5 random guys from accounting and they would be an upgrade over Big Show.
Well, that's the thing. That's what I think. This is what Corbin has working in his favor. There's a lot of the heel scene actually has a lot of part-timers who really need to phase out one way or the other. Over time, if they actually give him a chance, he could fill into those roles very nicely, I think.
Right.
He could always serve as, let's say, a smaller heel champion who needs an enforcer. Well, you got this biker dude who throws people around. He would be a perfect heavy.
Yeah, I agree.
So that's why, even though I think there's a lot of problems with the way he was rolled out as pretty much the equal of nobody gives a shit about Dolph Ziggler, I'm still optimistic about him.
Mm-hmm.
And then let's go to Enzo and Cass. What do we see out of these guys?
These are guys that can just jump into the top tag team picture whenever they want to. Their charisma is going to take them farther than their ability should. But I mean that's part of the game. You to be a wrestler, you have to be entertaining. They have that aspect to them. I think on the mic they're going to be fine. If it's a single star or a tag team like the New Day, I mean the sky's the limit with them in terms of entertainment and what they want to do. Of course, Cass, if they ever split them apart, I think that would be stupid. If they want to maybe make Cass a single star and have Enzo just kind of be his hype man, I'm on board with that, but I see them, they can always be tag team champions. I don't see Cass as like ever being like WWE World Heavyweight Champion or anything like that. No. He'll be like maybe United States Champion one day, and that's where his ceiling is.
Eddie?
Full disclosure, I still have not seen the Enzo and Cass debut from Monday night because I was watching it. Yeah, I still haven't seen it. I was watching their college basketball game on Monday night.
Unfortunately.
He was one of the viewers who were stolen away.
They absolutely destroyed the Dudleys in a promo.
Yes, they did.
I heard that, and I gotta seek that out as soon as this thing's over. That said, put the belts on them right now. I'm not kidding. Put them on. I don't care what you have to do to get the belts off New Day. You know, do a transition, take them both of them directly. Put them on. Put the belts on Enzo and Cass right now. Do not make the same mistake that NXT did. Like they waited around, and they never got around to putting the belts on Enzo and Cass. And when a better team comes around, they're just like left in the dust. Don't make that same mistake again, WWE. Put the belts on them tomorrow if you have to.
Well, I was gonna say, I was gonna bring me my next question about Enzo and Cass. They are a clear babyface team who has a sing-along chant and is very over. We also currently have another babyface tag team who has a sing-along chant who is really over. Can the division work with both New Day and Enzo and Cass babyface in the long run?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think you can. It's well, depends on what you're saying by long run. Like if they get to each other and they're having a match and they're both faces, I think they'll be fine. I would rather have a chance going, New Day rocks, you are soft or whatever chance doing back and forth than having to change affiliation. Maybe somewhere down the line, like New Day gets frustrated that they can't beat Enzo and Cass and turn again, then yeah, that's probably for the better, and having them be on opposite sides. I mean, I always thought you could, when Enzo and Cass got serious in NXT, I thought it was very possible that you can make them believable heels. So it really just depends on who you want to turn, in my mind.
Okay. Well, Eddie, what do you think about that question I asked you?
Ask it again, please. Okay. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Can like two babyface teams with similar? I don't see why it can't.
Okay.
I mean, didn't it work in the? I mean, didn't it work in the Attitude Era? It was the New Age Outlaws, and for the life of me, I cannot think of one other team right now. Oh, Edge and Christian, maybe like
Edge
Edge and
and
Christian or
Christian,
the
Hardy
or the
Boys.
right.
Well, okay. Oh, fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, so
Why
let's
can't
talk.
it work?
Let's talk about the final, or let's talk about there are actually two. Well, one's kind of a. There's also a repackaging. We'll get to the repackaging in a second. Let's do the final debut, the Vaudevillains.
Worried about him.
Okay, explain.
It's the gimmick of death. It's the same thing with Tyler Breeze. It's just like everybody was just like, oh, but Tyler Breeze is such a good heel. I'm like, he has two things going against him. He's got a really terrible gimmick, and he's short. It don't matter how good of a wrestler he is. Well, actually, he does, but he's not that good of a wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
And the gimmick cursed him. With the Vaudevillains, it's this gimmick. I mean, it works in NXT. It's fun. Most Matadores within a month.
Well, that's quite a bold prediction. I'll get to my view in a second. But Eddie, what do you think about him?
Full disclosure, I have not watched SmackDown yet because between WrestleMania, NXT, and I actually watched 2 WrestleManias on Sunday.
I think there's another disclosure. Eddie did not prepare for this, dear reader, because he does not give a shit about you.
After WrestleMania, he's like, I've had enough wrestling. Fuck this.
Yeah, no. So, full disclosure, they're absolutely right. I was after WrestleMania. I was more frustrated with this company than I was since. Wow. I'm sure it'll come to me, but it doesn't really matter. But full disclosure, I have not watched SmackDown yet. Because as I was saying, between WrestleMania, NXT, and Raw, and last night actually, I watched a random episode of Raw last night, and I watched 2 WrestleManias on Sunday. I watched 17 before. Before watching the pre-show. I didn't watch the whole pre-show. I watched like about 90 minutes of it or so. I've watched. Let me see. Give it. My number might be a little off. I watched like 20 hours of wrestling this week. Since last Friday, I watched like 20 hours of wrestling. I'm like, yeah.
All right. Well,
but I can't answer your question about the Vaudevillains. Their ceiling is limited, and here's why: they have an intricate gimmick, and WWE, at least in the last few years, has not done intricate well.
Mm-hmm.
If average Joe WWE fan does not get the gimmick within like 5 or 10 seconds, why would they care?
Well, I'll say this: if this were early '90s WWF,
I think
the
God,
Vaudevillains would be huge.
Oh yes.
Well, not huge because the product sucked back then, but
well, then,
they would be a top. They'd be a top act, but not right now.
No.
And that's the kind of warning. And this is, everyone says, well, they need character and a gimmick. And this is where I kind of go, character and gimmick are overrated because Tyler Breeze and the Vaudevillains have loads of each, and they ain't going anywhere.
Yeah, and also, and I hate to be a sizist for a moment, they're not terribly big. I'm sorry. I mean, they're not terribly big, and, not terribly big guys on a macro scale generally have a low ceiling in Vince McMahon's company, and it's always been that way.
Now, I do think
yes, there are many. Yes, I know you're doing it in the comments. I know you're doing it. I know you're about to list like the many. Yes, I'm fully aware there are many exceptions to this rule. But over time, I'm talking about on a on a macro scale, small guys generally have a low ceiling in the WWE. It's not my rule. It's just the way it is.
This is where I'm going to throw you a curve, Eddie. I was actually going to agree with you, but I was going to say, even with that ceiling, there's still some value in them. I mean, Aiden English can take a couple bumps.
Sure.
Aiden English can bump, and Carl Gotch is the kind of guy who
Simon Gotch.
Even if he doesn't,
no relation.
or Simon Gotch. Carl Gotch is way back.
Yeah,
Simon Gotch.
Carl Gotch is long gone.
Yeah, long gone. But Simon Gotch is. I could actually see him being as the kind of permanent enhancement talent that sticks around forever. Doesn't really want much. Make him an old school Carpenter style guy because he's very technically sound. So, and he could probably help make guys look good, but
Right.
I think anything sustained, I mean, they might throw him into a feud with New Day just because give somebody in the tag team something to do.
Right. That's what I meant. That's what I meant by that low ceiling. Like, I mean, you can plug him in. You could like you can plug him in for something to do, but like, you know, like any chance of them like winning a title or like getting over huge, like becoming like a huge popular act.
Okay.
Basically, stay in your lane. If they understand that they are serviceable,
Right.
then that's what they'll be, and then everything will be daisy.
Okay,
Right.
all right. So, in addition to some debuts, we had two re-debuts and one repackage. So let's talk about the re-debuts first. Cesaro. He came out and uppercutted the hell out of everyone.
And I believe he's still uppercutting people right now.
And it's a beautiful sight. It's great to see. But here's the question: where is Cesaro gonna go?
I hate the Cesaro question so much because I would have put the belt on this guy 2 years ago.
Well, it's just in the current WWE 2016. Who is he going to feud with right now?
He could have feuded with behind him. That match would have been awesome.
I'm sorry, who could he feud with? You kind of broke up there again.
Brock Lesnar. Oh my God! If Brock Lesnar and Cesaro got in a ring together, I'd lose my mind.
But that's not happening.
No, it's not. Because they don't put any investment behind them, so you can't do that. I
mean, realistically, who is Cesaro going to feud with right now? Or do you kind of keep him in the Sasha Banks role? Just have him win some squashes until you figure out what to do with him.
I think they're probably going to plug him with Owens first. No, because
he's with Zayn.
That's
what I'm saying. There's not really, unless it's like the Miz, and we'll get to him after we get through these guys. I can't really see anywhere else they could plug him in. Eddie, do you got any ideas where we're going to plug Cesaro in?
Unfortunately, I got nothing. I got nothing, dude.
And this is a case of there's actually quite a lot of people here.
Oh, and you know what? I just had a thought, and it kind of makes me ill.
Mm-hmm.
What if they put him in the League of Nations? I'm gonna have to fight somebody.
See, I'm not in control of his Google Hangout, but I was like damn near ready to kick you out. It's like, don't you do that? Don't do that to me.
And I'll be honest with you. If you kick me out, I wouldn't have blamed you because let's be honest. The thought makes me ill too. But I can totally see Vince doing it. I can totally see him doing it.
Oh man.
But at this point, if they don't pull the trigger on him now, since Tyson Kidd, who knows when he's going to be back, if ever. I mean, if you don't pull the trigger on him now, when are you going to do it? If you're not going to pull the trigger on him, you might as well let him walk.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's the thing. There's really since there's nowhere for him to go, there's a real risk of him getting lost in the shuffle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got kind of worried about him. Now let's focus to Emma, who made her return in full dark, evil Emma on SmackDown, or at least she made it a couple weeks ago. We always thought she was going to get called back. She showed up on SmackDown, and it looks like her and Becky Lynch are getting in a program. What do we think of Emma returning?
I really wish they would have done a better job of her return.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, all right, you want to tell us about this Emma character who's here? She's been gone for like 2 years. Anything?
Has it been that long?
Huh?
Has it been that long?
It's been about a year. It's been
At least a year. At least a year. Paige debuted 2013. Yeah, it's been about 2 years.
2014.
Oh, 2014. You're right. Okay, so it's been, at least been a year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just like, all right, like, what are we doing? Like, like, who is this? She's back. Like, at least to somebody who's never seen Emma before is like, all right, who's this person? Like, give us some background here.
Mm-hmm.
I want some development into. I'm curious on who's going over in that one. You could really go either way there.
Yeah. Okay. So now here's my other question about Emma. Should we just act, for all intents and purposes, that her original main roster run never happened, and Dark Emma is who she's always been?
I wish.
Because that's really, I think they're kind of hoping that nobody remembers that she was this bubblegum dancing comedy act that absolutely got over huge in front of a bunch of 500 people who are not a representative sample of even NXT's audience, much less WWE's audience. She got put to the main roster and died a death.
Gimmick.
Putting her with Santino
Mm-hmm.
was pretty much the kiss of death because let's be honest, who's gotten over with Santino? Name one person.
Well, the only problem is it made perfect sense to put her with Santino. She was a goofy comedy act.
That's
There's
the problem.
Goofy comedy act. She's a fully fledged character. I mean, hopefully, I'm optimistic. I personally love Emma forgetting that this is not a shoot. with how she lays her offense in and just starts wailing on people. I think her and Becky Lynch are going to tear the house down whenever they do fight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, so we're high on them as a repackage. Let's talk about the other repackage. Or do we really need to say anything about Primo and Epico, or can we say what the fuck? Move on.
Move on.
No, because I have only one.
You're breaking in there. You have one what?
I only have one idea of where this may be going.
Okay.
Carlito.
Okay. Now the thing is, I have zero investment in Carlito. I wasn't around when he was really wrestling. That's when I took my break.
Mm-hmm.
I took a break about
Carlito came out and you're just like, nope,
No, it was about the mid 2000s up to 2012 with the formation of the Shield. I took my break.
Well, as someone who watched in the mid 2000s, I wouldn't care.
Okay.
To be fair.
Now, are Primo and Epico going to be heels? Are they going to be baby? What the hell are they going to be?
It reeks of heel, and even if they try to get it over as a babyface act, they're going to boo it.
Okay. So this seems worse than Los Matadores, right?
Yes.
From appearance, yes.
All right, so that's
if there is a way to like just release them outright, do it. That's how little I think of Los Matadores.
The only reason I kind of threw Carlito in there is because nostalgia has an amazing effect on people.
It does, but
think about this. Everybody got excited for Shane McMahon and Undertaker, and all I thought was, here's a 46-year-old guy whose whole career has been basically known for he jumps from long distances, and the Undertaker who should have retired maybe 2 years ago.
Okay, all right. Let me address that. And here's the difference. Those two you mentioned, Shane and the Undertaker. Those two got over huge, perhaps in the biggest period in wrestling history, that being the Attitude Era.
Correct.
Carlito's biggest wrestling period was right in the beginning of, I would say, like right around the end of the Ruthless Aggression era, towards the beginning of the PG era, which is pretty much when just about everybody left. Like it's like if you ask like a casual, or for that matter even a long timer, if you ask who Carlito is, it's like who?
So you mean to tell me if Chris Masters returned today, people wouldn't pop for that?
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying.
That was a joke. I was not serious.
All right, so we don't much to say about that. Okay, let's go over to The Miz and, depressingly, Kalisto. He still exists, guys. He's still the U.S. champ. You might not know it, but he exists. He ate the pin on Thursday.
I was just getting ready to say he ate the pin on Thursday.
What?
Yes, since you had that scene
Sin Cara
SmackDown,
got thrown
and the
Vaudevillains killed
debut.
him.
The Vaudevillains pinned Kalisto.
Making him look strong.
This company, man, I swear to God.
We've just now ruined Eddie's podcasting experience.
He's never coming back again.
No.
No. I am coming back to bury this company some more. I think burying this company is like my 5th or 6th favorite hobby. I don't know, but.
All right,
oh my God.
Where are the secondary titles going? Because do we really want Miz to continue feuding with Zack Ryder?
No.
Oh my God.
No.
It's so hilarious. Like, they made a big deal about how, the Intercontinental title has so much prestige and value, and that's all they pushed last year when they put it on Daniel Bryan. And then when Kevin Owens got it, they tried to at least make him look strong. And now it's on Zack Ryder and The Miz. And they're in a feud for the Intercontinental. I mean, it's laughable. It's laughable.
It's not laughable because Zack Ryder is in the feud. Though I guess that could be a reason, but it's not really the reason.
Mm-hmm.
Hasn't Zack Ryder suffered enough in the last 4 years?
That's what's even worse.
Zack Ryder is going to, make no mistake, Zack Ryder is going to lose this feud.
Oh yeah, he is. Yeah, I'm sorry. The Miz has a returning Maurice. Yes, this feud he's going to lose.
He is going to lose this feud, and it's basically the story of Zack Ryder over the last 4 years. I mean, other than his wins in NXT, what has he done in WWE since he got kicked in the nads at WrestleMania 28?
You remember when we were talking about ceilings for guys, and we said like, oh, this person can go here? Zack Ryder literally hit his ceiling.
He hit you did the
97,000 people, and now it's over.
and they took it from like the.
That was the ceiling, bro. You hit it.
I'll tell you what, that angered me more than anything else on Monday night. Here's Zack Ryder, who's been kicked in the dirt for like the last 4 years. He got rebuilt. He got rebuilt a little bit in NXT, but then again, compared to the audience of Raw who watches NXT, right? I mean, on a macro scale,
right?
97,000, maybe 101,000, 97,000, 94,000. It could have been 79,000 for all I care. Zack Ryder, he gets the Intercontinental title and he loses it. Then why did you even put the title on him in the first place? Like what?
For that reaction.
Oh!
Hashtag WrestleMania moment.
That's exactly. Hashtag WrestleMania moment. And so that they can get that reaction out of you. That's exactly what they wanted. They wanted people to get so pissed that somehow you got invested enough in Zack Ryder.
It's like, what?
So how long do we think The Miz is going to retain the belt? Honestly, I think Miz is one of the. You guys don't. At least Eddie doesn't seem to be very high on him. I look at Miz as one of the most underrated guys in the company.
Dude,
he's an amazing heat magnet in the mid card, and he makes guys who go against him look really good. And eventually, I think he's going to make somebody look really good at SummerSlam or Money in the Bank when he drops
Yeah.
it.
I don't know if he's carrying it that long, but I mean, like I said earlier, if you put him in a feud with Roman Reigns for the title, I guarantee you, people will cheer Roman Reigns. They will not cheer the Miz.
I don't know. People cheered. I don't know. People cheered Miz over John Cena 5 years ago. So
it was a different time.
Well, what's the difference between now and 5 years ago, other than other than the network? What's the difference? What's the difference?
That's somewhat true.
All right, so Miz could have the title for a while. Let's
He won't be probably. I see a scenario where he doesn't lose the title until sometime next year.
Wow, that's
just
quite a vote of confidence.
No. That's a vote of no confidence, dude.
All right, so we have.
I mean, like they'll do it just to piss us off.
I can't wait.
And not in a boo we hate you because we're supposed to hate you kind of way. Like in a boo, get off my TV. I don't want to ever see you again kind of way. That's how I feel about the Miz.
I cannot wait for the Miz's Hall of Fame induction. And
and make no mistake, that is going to happen one day.
It's going to be a great moment.
And I'm with Blackjack on this, Eddie. I look forward to the Miz's Hall of Fame induction. He does one role really, really well. He should never be in the main event or anything like that. But
right.
What he does, he's very good.
I think that's where my feelings on the Miz come from.
Mm-hmm.
That brief period he was in the main event, and I can't shake him. I can't shake him for whatever reason. I think I know the reason. I think I know the reason. I'm never gonna get over it. I spent $60 on WrestleMania 27, and it's the worst pay-per-view purchase of my entire life.
Mm-hmm. I guess that will always have that sour taste with you, and I think it does for a lot of people too.
Congratulations, WWE! You have soured his experience forever. Okay, so
and if anyone at WWE headquarters is somehow listening to this, I want my $60 back. The statute of limitations, I'm pretty sure is not up. I'm pretty sure the statute of limitations is not up. I want my money back.
All right. Well, join us next edition of Cageside Speaks, where Eddie goes to get his money back. Okay, so we've gotten through all of those, and there's a lot to get through here, but we're finally over to the women's division and the branding of the women now as superstars and the Divas Championship as the women's championship.
That is an awesome looking belt, isn't it?
It is very nice.
Very nice.
It's one of my favorite in the company. And I'm going to, I guess, rant a little bit on this real quick and then get your guys' take. As much as I like that, I think they're off to the wrong foot with the first feud of a new era being Charlotte and Natalya fighting over whose family legacy is cooler.
I thought you had way more than that.
Well, the thing is, I let it go. I think it's ridiculous. I think it's a horrible first step for the division, especially when there is a feud the crowd wants to see, Sasha and Charlotte. And you could still have Charlotte win by cheating or whatever, stretch it out if you want, but the crowd wants to. The crowd really don't want to see Charlotte and Natty.
I agree with you, and I agree with you, but there's a but.
Okay.
I do agree that Charlotte and Natalya feuding over whose family is better is ridiculous to have a first feud and you're introducing the women's title. There was somebody who posted an article talking about no issue with that because that's a natural part of wrestling. The main event had Stephanie McMahon helping Triple H try to win a championship. So that's just a trope in wrestling. I don't think it had anything to say anything about gender. This might be a little bit more of an issue and something you can actually have a fair point about. And I do agree that this being your first feud, not really a great step, especially because you've treated Natalya so poorly over the past few years. That said, I do think
What do you say you think there?
I do think that if you're going to make this the women's championship, it is about time that you recognize some of your female wrestlers who are actually very good and you've been kind of abusing for the past 2 to 3 years, especially by giving them a ridiculous farting gimmick and put them in a feud. I don't agree with the direction of it, but if you want to put Natalya in a feud and have Charlotte go over, fine. They do need to build the other women that are there in that division, and I know the defense is going to be Charlotte Charlotte already beat her, but she's already beaten Becky. Sasha Banks is the one who should be next in line. I don't know what have Sasha Banks speak up because in character she should be, which is why her boss character hasn't gotten over on the main roster the way it should be. But
well, at the same time, it is still pretty damn over, though.
I think she is over, but her character isn't. Because what's her character right now, other than the fans really like her?
Sometimes it's all you need.
It is, yeah. That is very true. That is all you need sometimes.
So, Eddie, what do you think here? What do you think about the Charlotte and Natalya feud while Sasha does whatever?
I'll just leave it. I'll just summarize it in one sentence. You know, they could have brought Bailey up.
I was gonna ask that as well. Now what happens to Bailey?
Done.
Bailey drops the women's strap, and now she's kind of in purgatory to where, and I think this is where NXT at times suffers when their acts kind of get caught in purgatory. They're out of the title, and they just sort of languish. I mean, okay, I guess you could have the rematch, which everybody knows Asuka's winning, so there's zero kind of hype towards it. And then Bailey just sort of sits there and does what while waiting for a call-up?
I was talking with Vidance about this, and I was shocked at how many people really were expecting Bailey to be there, and I'm like, I didn't get any hint from that. From TakeOver, especially with her dropping it, I'm like, she's gonna want her rematch at least first, right? And that seems like the direction that they're gonna go is to give her a rematch against Asuka first, and then maybe call her up during the summer. But
when practically nobody's watching the show, that was my issue with it because let's be honest, you're not going to
main event chance during. She was getting chance during the main event of WrestleMania.
Right.
So.
Yes.
You're not going to have a bigger. You're not going to have a bigger audience on your wrestling show than this past Monday night.
Right. I mean, if they had just gone with Sasha Banks and Charlotte as their feud now after Mania, I could justify it, but it's very, very hard for me to justify. Because then it's like there's nothing I can say because it almost doesn't make sense. I don't get why either.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's. I mean, I honestly was okay. I mean, I know a lot of people said you could have put the belt on Charlotte or Becky or Sasha and Becky.
ABC.
And you should have.
But Charlotte.
But at the same time, I'm okay with Charlotte continuing to be a heel champion, but I want her to have interesting feuds. I do not want her to have a feud with Natty to where Natty. We know how this is going to end.
Yes.
Natty's going to have her in the sharpshooter. Rick is going to jump up on the apron.
Yep.
And then Natty is going to drop the hold and walk over and see what happened, and then Charlotte's going to attack her and win.
Is the dumbest babyface of all time. She might be.
Well, here's the thing. Anybody who is facing Charlotte, instantly, it's like they have a curse put on them by Ric Flair to become Sting level dumb.
Yes, it becomes such a like. It really is a trope where it's just like, it's like a WWE 2K16 animation where it's like, oh no, the manager has interfered. I must do something about this. Let me drop this hold. Oh no, I've been rolled up and pinned.
Yeah. And I guess that's where my problem is. I think moving Charlotte into Sasha or hell, even right to Bailey, it'd be somewhere fresh and it'd be something interesting. I don't really think this one is.
No, it's not. And now that I think about it, Charlotte and Natalya, wasn't that 2 years ago, 2 years ago in NXT, and I know that doesn't really count.
Yeah.
And two, and unfortunately I can't shake this for the life of me, nor should I be able to. I probably should. They had a pretty infamous match sometime last year, if I recall.
I don't know about. I don't remember that. I know they had a match at Roadblock that was fine and serviceable for what it was,
right.
But it finished just exactly how I described it.
Right, and the next match, I think it's going to be Payback. I'm pretty sure it's Payback. Mm-hmm. It's probably going to end the same exact way. Like, why?
As you can see, we've been through a lot here it's been about an hour and a half we've been in this now. We've covered a lot. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out over the next couple weeks leading into Payback, because there's so much stuff to go through here. The 30, 45 seconds each a piece here, guys. Is there anything you want to talk about that we missed, or you want to double back to? Go ahead, Blackjack. You first. 30, 45 seconds.
Roman Reigns is a guy. He might be the guy I don't want.
Okay.
Nothing else. That was about it.
Fair enough. Short and sweet to the point there. Living up to your gimmick. I appreciate it.
Yes, it never dies.
Okay, Eddie. What does our resident historian have to say real quick to double back
on? Basically, it is an open message to WWE, if they're listening. I know they're not, but just in case they are, please do something on Monday nights. Make me believe. That's all I ask. Just make me feel good about you. Make WWE great. Don't even make it great again. Let's start with make it good again. Do that.
Okay.
Don't worry. They'll give you John Cena in a month.
Okay, so I mean that's another subject to talk about, all those returns, but we've gone pretty long here.
Yeah.
We'll probably get to that when they do come back in the next month. And on that note, I'd just like to conclude it for everybody, and be sure to keep a lookout every weekend for these podcasts. Over the month of April, we're going to be very busy with podcasts. There's rumors that WWE will unveil the names of contestants in the Global Cruiserweight Series.
Oh, boy.
We're going to give you a podcast of that, where we break down all of the guys that are mentioned and kind of give you something to look for, kind of like a scouting report on each of them. We also have a Lucha Underground podcast coming up, where we are going to talk about Lucha Underground halfway through the year. How are they doing so far? Kind of consider it a progress report on Season 2. We will also be doing a one on Payback, and once we have the fallout from Payback, and also 14 Fitzpatrick is going to have one of his special projects. He wants to talk to you about the world of CMLL, which is one of the big lucha libre organizations in Mexico.
It's the one that's got his stuff together right now.
Actually, yes, it does.
The good one.
It's been doing very good lately, and they've been you can watch their streams on Friday night for free, even no matter where you live. And they've been doing a lot of interesting stuff lately, and I wouldn't be surprised if you see some of their contestants in the Global Cruiserweight Series. Not many of them, but you may see a few of them. So he's going to talk about that, just to give you a wider view that there is more to wrestling than WWE. It is a beautiful thing right now that there is so much wrestling out there. You don't have to watch WWE to get your fix. You can watch CMLL. You can watch Progress Wrestling in England. They have their own streaming service, and Progress Wrestling is outstanding. Mm-hmm. I really recommend it.
Yeah, I have a subscription. I haven't used it in months, and
you really should. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I might watch a couple of shows this weekend.
Yeah, there's NXT. There's even your indies. There's New Japan. There's New Japan United States division known as Ring of Honor. The redheaded stepchild. I think they call it New Japan East. It's either New Japan East or New Japan West. I can't remember which one they call Ring of Honor in the daily, but there is still that. TNA is they got Drew Galloway as champ. That's good. Then you have Evolve if you love your grapple fuck, and Evolve is actually really great, guys. You should watch that as well. There's so much wrestling, and we're going to try to do that at Cageside Speaks. try to give you the wide world of wrestling as well to look at, and one of those is going to be CMLL. And if you want to get in on these podcasts, by all means, my email is in my profile name. Go ahead and in the comment threads let us know. Or if you got ideas for topics you think we should cover, we would love to hear them for you. But as for now, we're going to say, take care, you guys. Thank you for coming along and listening to us.
Adios.
All right.
Thanks for listening.